Hey guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of Learning to Grow. My name is Max, and I'm still learning how to garden. Hopefully, I can just show you guys what to do and what not to do so you can learn from my successes and my failures. For today, I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I'm doing to get ready for winter. So a couple weeks ago, my brother-in-law Adam and I put up a 10-foot by 20-foot hoop house. I got it off of Amazon for about $200, and it seems like it's pretty good quality so far. It was pretty easy to set up. For bed prep, we just did like a pretty simple till and then put down some contractor's paper. It's kind of like that like thicker cardboardy type paper. And then we put down a couple inches of compost on top of that. And it's only a week or two in, but it seems like it's holding up pretty well so far. The hoop house is pretty far away from any source of water, so I came up with a solution that I thought was pretty convenient. I have this like water tank that I put on the back of a trailer, and so I can just fill that up from the well and then drive it over. And then I just hooked it up to a drip line, and just gravity powered. I can water the plants that way. In hindsight, I probably would have used more. I got about 75 feet, but in reality, you probably want enough drip line to cover each row that you're planting. I only got about 3 passes. What I ended up doing was using a watering can to kind of saturate the soil that way, and it seemed to work well so far. I'm getting some pretty good germination. Where I'm growing in Lincoln County, Missouri, Zone 6A, you can't reliably grow in a hoop house all the way through the winter, at least not without some modifications. So what I ended up doing was putting in 3 55-gallon rain barrels. My buddy Carter helped me put in these barrels, so shout out to Carter, he was a big help. I got them off of Facebook Marketplace for only about $10 each. By doing this, I'm taking advantage of water's high specific heat capacity, meaning that it can absorb and release a lot of heat energy without changing the temperature too much. Now, for most greenhouses, the ideal ratio of square footage to gallons of water is about 3 to 5. So for a 200 square foot greenhouse, that would be between 600 and 1,000 gallons of water. So with 1,000 gallons of water, that would be like 20 rain barrels. I don't really want to compromise that much growing space. So I just put in 3, and I'm crossing my fingers that it'll work out pretty well. In reality, you'd probably need closer to 5 for cooler climates and closer to 3 for warmer climates, but any amount of water will be better than no water. Another thing that I'm trying out with these is an idea that I got from a YouTube video from a channel called Nighthawk and Light. I'll link that channel in the description. He mixed a non-toxic chemical called sodium sulfate with the water to greatly increase the specific heat capacity, which I thought was pretty interesting. So if you guys think that's interesting, go ahead and check it out. There are a couple other things that you can do to keep a hoop house or a greenhouse warm in the winter without any sort of active heating devices. Something else that you can do, and something that I'm doing, is putting in insulation on the north side of the greenhouse. So especially in the winter, the sun's going to be south facing. So as it comes in from the south, the north, if you put something on the north wall, it won't impede the sunlight in any way. I bought what's essentially shiny bubble wrap that I got from Lowe's. And obviously the bubble wrap, the air pockets will provide some insulation, and the reflectivity will bounce any sunlight that's coming through back into the greenhouse and prevents it from escaping. So that should help keep it a lot warmer without any active heating. Even with these measures, you still won't be able to grow like tomatoes or cucumbers or watermelon or anything like that. But leafy greens, a lot of things in the onion family, and a lot of root vegetables will still do pretty well. For this hoop house, I chose to go with kale, lettuce, cilantro, spinach, bok choy, bunching onions, mustard greens, and carrots. A lot of these can tolerate temperatures well down, at least into the 40s and even below, so they should hopefully be pretty happy throughout the entire winter. I got the seeds for these from a site called Seed Savers Exchange, which is a nonprofit seed protection and like sort of collection organization where they collect and distribute a lot of heirloom seed varieties. So it seems like a pretty cool organization, one that I'm definitely willing to support. Moving over to the glass greenhouse, I'm employing a lot of the same measures that I'm using in the hoop house, but the added benefit here is that there is electricity. So I put in two heaters, two electric heaters on either side of the greenhouse. So I'm planning on growing actually some tropical plants that wouldn't be able to survive in Missouri at all. For this winter as a trial run, I planted a lime tree and an avocado tree. So it'll be interesting to see how those make it through the winter. Moving outside, I'm not growing anything in my raised beds over the winter, but I did decide to put in some cover crops. For this, I chose buckwheat and cowpeas. These aren't cold hardy at all, so the first frost is going to kill them dead. But it'll be nice because they'll form a mulch over the winter and protect the soil from any sort of harsh winter weather. I chose to go with cowpeas because they are legumes, so they'll be able to fix nitrogen and add it back to the soil. And buckwheat is just a really prolific grower, so it can add a lot of nice biomass or carbonaceous material that will break down and help feed the soil life in the future. I planted these just in a dense broadcast planting, and then I covered over the top with compost to help keep in moisture, and it seemed to do a pretty good job. The last thing I wanted to show you guys really isn't related to winter growing, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's how to make your own organic liquid fertilizer at home. It's essentially weed water. So what I essentially ended up doing was grabbing a 5-gallon bucket and throwing in any weeds that I could find. I was looking for stuff like dandelions, chickweed, crabgrass, orchard grass, mare's tail, anything like that. And it's probably better to use weeds for this because you really want to get that like herbaceous, vegetative, like green leafy material. And most weeds are packed with nutrients, and a lot of them can be invasive. So it's better to grab those than any native plants that might be growing around. You also don't want to use tree leaves because a lot of trees can contain compounds that inhibit plant growth, like tannins in oak leaves or juglone in black walnut leaves. Once I was done packing all the weeds in, I finished it off with some forest soil, which contains a lot of beneficial microbes and fungi, and I topped it all off with some water and snaked in an aerator, like the kind that you would use in an aquarium, to help provide some extra oxygen, just to help keep the water from getting gross and smelly. I'm going to let it sit for about a week, and then I'll just filter it off and use it in my hoop house and in the greenhouse, and hopefully I get some good results. All right, that's all I have for you guys this week, but if you have any questions, comments, concerns, corrections, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.